Listen close. How we living, family? How we living? How we living for real? It's your girl behind the desk, back with the kind of breakdown that ain't gonna fit in no 15-second scroll, and honestly, sweetheart, I hope you brought a snack because tonight the plate is full. Full. Overflowing. Because Blueface has officially lost every single lane in the freeway of common sense, Nvea just walked out the hospital with a newborn only to open her phone to a real-life betrayal Netflix wouldn't even greenlight. Jaidyn Alexis is out here reading grown men like Sunday scripture. Chrisean Rock has been dragged back into a storyline she swore she was done with, and while all of that Blueface chaos is unfolding, the President of the United States, Donald Trump himself, is getting publicly humiliated by cartoon Lego men from Iran. Yes. Lego men. From Iran. Sit with that sentence, family. Sit with it. Because that is the actual timeline we live in, and I promise you by the time we finish tonight, you are going to understand exactly why Blueface, Nvea, Jaidyn Alexis, Chrisean Rock, and Donald Trump are all trapped in the same story, a story about power, ego, and the audacity of men who think consequences are somebody else's problem. Let me tell you where my head has been all week. I have been sitting with this footage, I have been sitting with these headlines, and I have been asking myself a very simple question. How does a grown man like Blueface, with 3 baby mothers, a newborn son fresh out the delivery room, and a whole federal caseload still parked in his rearview mirror, end up sliding into a passenger seat with a woman named India while his most recent baby mama is still bleeding in a hospital gown? How? Because I want somebody to explain it to me like I'm 5, sweetheart. Explain it slow. Explain it clean. Explain it in crayon if you have to. Because Blueface just delivered one of the coldest, most publicly documented disrespects the culture has witnessed in a calendar year, and Nvea, a whole new mother, a whole postpartum woman, a whole human being who just brought life into this earth, had to receive that news through her phone screen like the rest of us watching from the couch. You catching this? Because I need you to catch this before we go 1 inch further. Blueface didn't just cheat. Blueface didn't just get caught. Blueface publicly, deliberately, on camera, with the confidence of a man who has forgotten what a consequence looks like, sat down next to India. India. Who is India, family? Where did India come from? What department of the Blueface cinematic universe was India recruited from? Because last I checked, we were still processing Jaidyn Alexis, we were still processing Nvea, we were still processing Chrisean Rock, we were still processing the missing watch conversation, and now, right on cue, like clockwork, like this man is running a rotation instead of a life, a 5th character walks into the frame and Blueface behaves as if this is normal ensemble casting for a normal Tuesday. And here is where I have to slow down and be honest with you. I have said it before, I will say it again, and I will keep saying it until the algorithm gets tired of me. I do not surround myself with people who move like Blueface. I do not have friends who move like Blueface. I do not entertain energy that moves like Blueface. So when men, grown men, decent men, men I respect and have known for years, sit across from me and describe the behaviors of people who move like Blueface, my first instinct historically has been disbelief. Not because I doubted the men, but because I could not fathom the mathematics of a person waking up every single morning and choosing chaos on purpose. On purpose, family. On purpose. And yet here we are, watching Blueface prove, in high definition, in 4K, in surround sound, that the men were not exaggerating. They were reporting the news from the front lines. And Blueface is the case study they were warning us about. Now let's talk about Nvea. Because I need us to be careful with Nvea, family. I need us to be tender with Nvea. I need us to hold Nvea with 2 hands, not 1. Because Nvea just gave birth. Nvea is in the postpartum window. Nvea is inside the exact 72-hour biochemical hurricane that has, historically, driven perfectly stable women into moments they never intended to occupy. I am a lawyer. I have read the cases. I have studied the transcripts. I have sat in classrooms where professors walked us through the postpartum psychosis defense line by line, and let me tell you something, that defense exists because the science is real. The hormones are real. The isolation is real. The sleep deprivation is real. The exhaustion is real. And the energy transfer from a spiraling partner to a fresh newborn is real. 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 So when I look at Blueface parading India across the internet while Nvea is still healing, I do not just see a cheating story. I see a public health situation. I see a case file waiting to happen. I see a headline nobody wants to read 6 months from now. And I refuse to sit here and pretend that the entertainment value of it outweighs the actual danger of it. Because it does not. It does not, family. It absolutely does not. Whoever loves Nvea, whoever is close enough to Nvea to check on Nvea, please, check on Nvea. Physically check on her. Bring groceries. Bring somebody who can hold that baby while she sleeps. Because the energy Blueface is transferring toward Nvea and that newborn right now is not the kind of energy any infant should be marinated in during the first month of life. And here is the part that quietly breaks my heart. Because Jaidyn Alexis, the original, Jaidyn Alexis has been telling us this. Jaidyn Alexis has been screaming this from the digital rooftops. Jaidyn Alexis called one of them trailer trash. Jaidyn Alexis called the other one his supply. And the word supply, pause on that word, family, that is not a random insult. That is textbook narcissistic abuse vocabulary. That is a woman who has read the same books I have read. That is a woman who has watched the same therapy content I have watched. That is a woman who has looked her situation dead in the face and diagnosed the disease correctly. Jaidyn Alexis is not confused. Jaidyn Alexis is not petty. Jaidyn Alexis is not a hater. Jaidyn Alexis is educated on exactly what Blueface is, and Jaidyn Alexis is warning every woman within earshot that Blueface does not collect partners, Blueface collects supply. And that distinction, sugar, is the whole ball game. That distinction is why Jaidyn Alexis will eventually be seen as the reasonable one in this entire saga. And can we talk about Chrisean Rock for 1 second? Because Chrisean Rock has been through the ringer with Blueface, on camera, in courtrooms, in press cycles, in emergency rooms, in every possible venue a human relationship can end up inside of. Chrisean Rock has been telling y'all with her chest, who Blueface is. And every time Chrisean Rock said something, the internet reduced it to entertainment. Chrisean Rock was screaming, and we were laughing. Chrisean Rock was warning, and we were meme-ing. And I have to include myself in that critique, because I have laughed at Chrisean Rock moments I should have paused on. And I owe Chrisean Rock, and every woman who has ever tried to tell the world about a man who was hurting her, an honest reconsideration. Chrisean Rock was not the punchline. Chrisean Rock was the prophet. And now Nvea is walking the exact same road Chrisean Rock warned us about. Now since we already dragging folks tonight, let me pivot, because there is another man on my screen tonight who is getting dragged even harder than Blueface, and his address is 1600, Pennsylvania Avenue. Yes. I am talking about Donald Trump. I am talking about the President of the United States. And I am talking about the fact that the nation of Iran, a country the American media has been trying to convince us is a backwater, has just spent the last 6 weeks publicly, artistically, and viciously humiliating Donald Trump with a series of Lego animation videos that have gone so viral, so global, so undeniably nuclear on the internet, that the White House has reportedly asked Iran, through diplomatic back channels, to please stop making the cartoons. Please. Stop. Making. The. Cartoons. Read that sentence back to yourself. Read it slow. Read it twice. Because that is the actual reported behavior of the most powerful office in the free world under Donald Trump. Iran is not launching missiles at the ego of Donald Trump. Iran is launching Lego minifigures at the ego of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is losing. Losing badly. Losing so badly that Donald Trump is now threatening to declare Iranian territory as American land, which is the geopolitical equivalent of a 9-year-old on the playground yelling, "This is my yard now." It is not strategy, family. It is not policy. It is a tantrum with a flag pin on it. It is a temper flare-up dressed up in a suit and tie. And I need y'all to understand why the Lego videos are working on Donald Trump specifically. Because a lot of the commentary class has tried to dismiss the videos as propaganda, and yes, of course they are propaganda. Propaganda is a category, not a verdict. But these particular pieces of propaganda are landing because the facts inside them are accurate. The facts are accurate. The facts are accurate. Say it with me one more time, the facts are accurate. And when propaganda tells the truth, propaganda becomes journalism with a soundtrack. That is what Iran figured out. That is what Iran is exploiting. And Donald Trump, a man whose entire brand was built on controlling the narrative, is now being narratively dismantled by animators he can neither sanction nor sue nor deport nor tariff into silence. So what does a cornered Donald Trump do? Donald Trump reaches for the one lever Donald Trump has always reached for, the economy. Donald Trump has been on stage, on camera, on Truth Social, promising the American public that Donald Trump will inflict what Donald Trump himself called an economic D-Day on Iran. Economic D-Day, family. Let me translate what that phrase means to you in real human terms. Donald Trump believes Donald Trump can starve Iran into surrender the same way Donald Trump believes he can starve his critics into silence. There is one small problem with that theory, and that problem is a little historical fact that Donald Trump either forgot, was never taught, or was taught and slept through. Iran has been in economic shambles for years. Years. Iranian currency, at last check, was valued at roughly a rounding error against the American dollar. Iranian citizens were, not long ago, standing in the streets, with the lights literally cut off on them by their own government, willing to risk their lives in public because their economy was already destroyed. Already destroyed. So when Donald Trump threatens Iran with economic collapse, Donald Trump is threatening a nation that has been living inside economic collapse as a lifestyle for the better part of a decade. Iran is battle-hardened for exactly the weapon Donald Trump is aiming at them. Iran was born in that gym. Iran does not fear that gym. Iran built that gym. Iran owns that gym. Iran holds the mortgage on that gym. You know who is not built for that gym, family? Americans. Americans are not built for that gym. Because, and I say this with all the love I have for my country, the American public has been conditioned by 70 years of relative abundance to snap the moment the grocery bill jumps $10. Snap. Instantly. And that is not a criticism, that is an observation. Because history has proven, over and over and over, that the one thing that unites the American public across every division, racial, ideological, generational, regional, religious, is a threat to the wallet. The wallet is sacred, family. The wallet is holy. The wallet is the last unifier we have left. And Donald Trump is about to touch the wallet in a way that no politician in modern American memory has dared to touch it. Now here is where the story takes a turn I did not expect to be telling y'all in the year of our Lord we are currently sitting in, which is 2026. Because for the first time since Donald Trump's return to the White House, I am starting to believe, genuinely believe, not manifest, not hope, but believe, that the midterm elections this November are going to shift. Shift hard. Shift historically. And I am going to tell you exactly why, and it has nothing to do with any strategist Chuck Schumer has on the payroll and nothing to do with any consultant the DNC hired out of some Beltway country club. Donald Trump made the white ladies mad. And when I say the white ladies, sugar, I am being specific. I am talking about the subset of white American women who genuinely love their children, who genuinely prioritize their children, who genuinely will lay their lives down for their children, because that subset, in my personal experience, does not play. Growing up, I attended majority white institutions. I have had white friends. I have watched white mothers operate in the wild. And there is one universal law of engagement I learned from that observation deck, and the law is this: if you want a white mother to reveal her final form, you touch her child. That is the tripwire. That is the button. That is the only red line that matters. And Donald Trump has been mashing that button with both hands, both feet, and an elbow. Because Donald Trump had American servicemen and servicewomen stranded at sea, on aircraft carriers, for over 250 days without a single port call. 250 days, family. That is not a deployment. That is a hostage situation with a flag on it. And every one of those sailors has a mother. Every one of those sailors has a father. Every one of those sailors has a family. And a large percentage of those mothers, statistically, voted for the very man who abandoned their babies at sea, that man being Donald Trump. And those mothers, I promise you on everything I love, have been writing letters. Have been calling representatives. Have been flooding the direct messages of every reporter with a public inbox. Have been mobilizing. Quietly. Efficiently. Relentlessly. Because that is what white mothers who love their children do, they organize. And when they organize, sweetheart, elections move. Elections move. So when I look at the political tea leaves right now, I see a Democratic Party that is about to win midterms it does not deserve to win. And I want to be very clear about that phrasing. The Democratic Party is not winning because the Democratic Party has done the work. The Democratic Party is winning because Donald Trump is losing on his own weight. Losing on his own choices. Losing on his own gravity. Losing on his own arrogance. And that is not the same thing as earning a mandate. That is inheriting one. And if the Democratic Party mistakes an inheritance for an earning, sugar, they will squander it inside of one election cycle. Watch. Watch it happen. Watch. I have been telling you this for 2 years and I am telling you again tonight. Because here is what the Democratic Party should be doing right now, and here is what the Democratic Party is absolutely not doing. There are 90 million Americans, 90 million, family, let that number land in your chest, 90 million eligible voters who did not show up to the polls in 2024. Not for Donald Trump. Not against Donald Trump. Not at all. 90 million people looked at the entire menu and said, none of this is for me. 90 million. And instead of the Democratic Party sending organizers into those neighborhoods, sitting down with those families, listening, actually listening, not talking, listening, the Democratic Party is spending its resources and its airtime trying to flip suburban Republicans who were never going to flip in the first place. That is not strategy. That is theater. Expensive theater. And I need somebody in that party, anybody in that party, one person with a pulse and a Rolodex, to please walk into the room where the decisions get made and say the quiet part out loud. Coalition is not conversion. Coalition is not conversion. Say it with me, coalition is not conversion. Coalition is showing up to the 90 million and asking, respectfully, what would it take to earn your loyalty, not your vote, your loyalty. Because a vote is a transaction and a loyalty is a movement, and Donald Trump, whether we like it or not, built an entire political movement by understanding that distinction. The Democratic Party still thinks it is running transactions. And that, family, is exactly why we keep ending up here, election after election, cycle after cycle, disappointment after disappointment. Now let me pull us back down to earth because I do not want to lose you in the policy weeds. Let me remind you of the real receipts. Because Donald Trump ran on one central promise, and that promise was the economy. Better economy. Cheaper groceries. Lower gas. Fatter paychecks. That was the pitch. That was the whole pitch. That was the only pitch. And where are we now under Donald Trump? Gas is climbing to prices that make you check the pump twice, then a third time, then curse under your breath and pump $10 and drive off. Groceries are so aggressively priced that a single bag of blueberries, family, the fruit of God, the antioxidant of the people, got recalled, which means the only antioxidant currently available at the corner store is the one your cardiologist warned you about. The national debt is a number so large it has stopped being a number and started being a punchline. And Donald Trump, the man who campaigned as the CEO of American prosperity, is now on television threatening a foreign country with the very economic collapse Donald Trump promised to protect his own citizens from. The irony, sugar, is loud. The irony is deafening. The irony is louder than the Lego videos and the Blueface press cycle combined. And still, I hear people online defending Donald Trump like Donald Trump is a beloved uncle instead of the sitting head of state whose decisions are shaping the price of every meal you eat this month. And I have to ask, respectfully, how much more evidence do we need? How many more recalls? How many more portcall-less deployments? How many more Lego humiliations? How many more women in postpartum wards being asked to co-parent with men who cannot spell their own children's names? Because at some point, family, at some point, the pattern is the point. The pattern is the whole point. And that brings me to something I have been slow cooking in the background all month, and I am ready to finally announce it to y'all tonight. I am launching a new series on this channel. A whole series. And the working thesis of the series is one I have been building notebooks around for months, which is this: the founding fathers of the United States were, to a man, some of the most emotionally chaotic, financially reckless, romantically dishonest baby daddies in recorded Western history. That is the thesis. That is the framing. And I have the receipts. I have Alexander Hamilton. I have Thomas Jefferson. I have letters. I have court documents. I have primary sources. I have footnotes on footnotes. And I am going to walk y'all through, chapter by chapter, exactly why the political dysfunction we are living inside right now is not a bug, it is the operating system. It was coded in from day one. The men who wrote the Constitution wrote it in between arguments with women they were mistreating and creditors they were dodging. That is not a joke, family. That is documented history. And I am going to prove it in ways your high school textbook was too polite to. Because here is the deeper connection I want to leave you with tonight, and I want you to sit with it before you close this tab. Blueface is not a Blueface problem. Blueface is a symptom. Donald Trump is not a Donald Trump problem. Donald Trump is a symptom. The disease, sugar, is a cultural agreement, an unspoken, decades-old, transnational cultural agreement, that men of a certain profile are allowed to fail publicly, hurt people privately, and never once face the full weight of consequence. And every time we as a society decline to enforce the weight of that consequence, we are voting, quietly, wordlessly, unanimously, for the next Blueface, the next Donald Trump, the next disaster. Every time. Every single time. That is why elections matter. That is why boundaries matter. That is why the postpartum ward matters. That is why the port call matters. That is why the Lego video matters. Every single one of these stories, family, is the same story wearing a different jacket. And the sooner we start reading them as one continuous plot instead of 5 disconnected news cycles, the sooner we start voting like our lives depend on it, because they do, the sooner we stop asking Nvea to raise a child inside a hurricane and stop asking American citizens to raise their families inside an economy their own president is bombing on principle. I want to zoom back in on Blueface for one more moment because I do not want to leave the entertainment segment feeling like the entertainment segment. Blueface is a man who has, over the last several years, been offered every off-ramp a public figure can be offered. Blueface was offered the mother of his first children off-ramp when Jaidyn Alexis, against every reasonable expectation, stayed loyal for as long as she stayed loyal. Blueface was offered the fatherhood off-ramp when Jaidyn Alexis gave him a son and then a daughter. Blueface was offered the redemption off-ramp when Chrisean Rock, against every reasonable warning sign, tried to build something with him. Blueface was offered the legal off-ramp, literally, a legal off-ramp, one that involved a courtroom, a judge, a plea, and a chance to walk a straighter line. Blueface said no to all of it. Every off-ramp Blueface has ever been offered, Blueface has taken like a challenge instead of a gift. And now Blueface is sitting inside a life where a fourth woman named Nvea is in his passenger seat, a newborn is in a hospital across town, and Blueface's own mother, family, has been publicly navigating whether to even meet the grandchild. That is not fame. That is failure with a filter on it. And Nvea, who I keep coming back to because Nvea keeps living rent-free in my concern, Nvea deserves better. Nvea deserved a birth week that was not a press cycle. Nvea deserved a postpartum window that was not a comment section. Nvea deserved a partner who understood that the first 30 days of a newborn's life are not a stage. Nvea did not get any of that. Nvea got Blueface. Nvea got the fallout. Nvea got the receipts nobody asked her to hold. And I am asking every single hype in this comment section to please, send Nvea a good thought tonight, a prayer if you pray, a positive intention if you don't. Because Nvea is going to need every single one of them. Let me pull the camera back to Donald Trump one more time because Donald Trump has been busy since I sat down to record this. Donald Trump reportedly said in the last 24 hours that Donald Trump believes Donald Trump is about to be impeached. Cool, Donald Trump. Cool. Are you going to be convicted, though? Because impeachment without conviction is a bumper sticker, not a consequence. In order for Donald Trump to be impeached and convicted, which is the two-step process a lot of the internet keeps forgetting is 2 steps, the Democratic Party would need the House and the Senate. The House and the Senate. Both chambers, family. Both. So maybe, just maybe, the Democratic Party should not wait until the 10th hour to actually start doing the work of coalition building I already outlined a few paragraphs ago. Maybe the Democratic Party should be spending its energy on the 90 million ghost voters instead of chasing the same suburban demographic they have been chasing since 2016. Maybe. Just a thought. Just a suggestion from your girl who has been reading the books they refuse to read. But nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to me at the DNC. Everybody at the DNC only listens to the Obama bros, the podcast bros, the strategist bros, the same rotation of bros who have been losing winnable races for a decade. And that is fine. That is fine. I am going to keep talking. I am going to keep reading. I am going to keep taking notes. And when the midterm results come in and everybody is shocked that the coalition did not show up in the numbers the DNC projected, I am going to be right here, receipts in hand, saying I told you. I told you. I told you. Because the truth is, and I said this on a stream months ago, Donald Trump is not going to be defeated by a strategy. Donald Trump is going to be defeated by his own arrogance. Donald Trump has already lit the match. Donald Trump has already poured the gas. Donald Trump has already threatened the white lady's babies. Donald Trump has already threatened the wallet. Donald Trump has already lost the narrative war with Iran. Donald Trump has already alienated the veterans' families. Donald Trump has already made a mockery of the office. All the Democratic Party has to do, all the party has to do, is stand there and not fumble the layup. And I am not confident, family. I am not confident they can even do that. But I am hopeful. Hopeful. I have been reading. I have been researching. I have been taking notes on paper because my phone battery cannot survive my thoughts. And I am going to be spending the next few months walking y'all through every single one of these connections in the depth they deserve. Because the 3-minute video era of my life is officially over. Officially over. This is the long-form era. This is the notebook era. This is the receipts era. This is the say it all the way through era. And if you are here for it, if you are ready for it, if you have been waiting for it, the family just got bigger, and I am so grateful you are here. Let me also say this because I would be doing y'all a disservice if I did not. There is an election in November. This November. This year. 2026, and I am hearing from real people, not internet caricatures, that there are eligible voters right now who do not even know an election is happening. Do not know. And that is not their fault. That is a media failure. That is a civic education failure. That is a Democratic Party failure. But it is also, respectfully, our failure, yours and mine, because if you are watching this video right now, you are informed enough to be a bridge to somebody who is not. So do the small thing tonight. Text one person. One person. Tell them there is an election in November. Tell them their local ballot matters. Tell them the down ballot races matter more than the presidential year noise wants them to believe. Tell them. Because the 90 million did not skip 2024 out of laziness. The 90 million skipped 2024 because nobody made them feel seen. And you, in a 2-minute text message, can be the person who finally makes somebody feel seen. And listen, I am not here to tell you who to vote for. I am not that kind of channel. I am not that kind of lawyer. I am not that kind of narrator. What I am here to do is give you the framework, the receipts, the history, and the analysis, and then trust you, family, because I do trust you, to make the decision that fits your conscience, your community, and your family's future. That has always been the deal. That is still the deal. That will always be the deal on this channel. Before I let you go tonight, I want to tell you what is coming next on this channel. I am dropping a full breakdown of the Carmelo Anthony motion for a new trial. And I know some of y'all have been waiting on that one, because the coverage in the mainstream legal press has been, respectfully, dog water. So I am going to walk you through every single line of that motion, in plain English, with the receipts, the context, and the legal framework you need to understand what is actually being argued. Because Law and Crime Network, I love you, I subscribe to you, I watch you, but on this one, family, you have been playing. And I cannot let you play with my audience like that. So the breakdown is coming. It is coming tomorrow. And you do not want to miss it. I am also going to be recording the first episode of the Founding Fathers series I mentioned earlier this week, and depending on how the edit goes, that may drop by the end of the weekend. So please, turn on the notification bell tonight. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Tonight. Because these videos are going to start dropping at a pace this channel has never seen, and I do not want any of y'all missing anything. So here is what I need from you tonight, sweetheart. If this video hit you, if this video taught you something, if this video made you laugh, if this video made you mad, if this video made you feel seen, hit the subscribe button. Hit it right now. Do not wait until the end. Hit the notification bell so you know the second the Carmelo Anthony breakdown drops. Share this video with one person, just one, who needs to understand what is actually happening in this country right now, because I promise you, they are not getting this analysis on the 6 o'clock news. And drop me a comment. Tell me what you want me to cover next. Tell me who you want me to break down next. Tell me what case you want me to sit with. Tell me what founding father you want me to expose first, Hamilton or Jefferson. I take requests. Because this channel is a conversation, not a monologue, and I am listening. We are going to keep building this thing. We are going to keep growing this thing. We are going to keep telling the truth on this thing, the truth about Blueface, the truth about Nvea, the truth about Jaidyn Alexis, the truth about Chrisean Rock, the truth about Donald Trump, the truth about Iran, the truth about the midterms, the truth about the founding fathers, the truth about the economy, the truth about the postpartum ward, the truth about the port call, the truth about all of it. Because the truth, sugar, is the only currency that has not been inflated. And I am printing it. Printing it in real time. Printing it in long form. Printing it in whatever ink this channel has left. One last thing before I go, because I already see the comments section warming up, and I know some of y'all are going to ask in the comments the same 3 questions y'all always ask when I record a video this heavy, so let me get ahead of the wave right now. First question, always the first question. No, I am not being paid by any political party to say any of this, and if I were being paid, I would be recording from a better desk with a better lighting setup and a better microphone than the one clipped to my collar right now. Second question, yes, I read every comment I can, and no, I do not respond to every one, because there are only 24 hours in a day and I would like to sleep occasionally. Third question, yes, I am open to bringing on guests, and yes, I already have a shortlist, and yes, when the announcement drops, y'all are going to lose your minds. Now, yes, I am aware Blueface is going to respond to this video. Yes, I am aware some of Blueface supporters are going to slide into the comments defending Blueface. Yes, I am aware Donald Trump supporters are going to do the exact same thing on the political segment. And I want to say, in advance, respectfully, welcome. Genuinely. Welcome. Because a conversation with only one side is not a conversation, it is a lecture, and I am not trying to lecture anyone tonight. So bring your disagreement. Bring your data. Bring your receipts. Just do not bring your disrespect, because the moderators do not play, and neither do I. And before I sign off, let me leave you with one final receipt, because a good closing argument always ends with a receipt. Blueface, Donald Trump, and every man in that lineage of consequence-dodging behavior, they all share one common denominator, and that denominator is an audience that keeps forgiving them faster than the people they hurt can heal. Blueface only keeps getting away with what Blueface keeps getting away with because there is a comment section willing to laugh instead of grieve. Donald Trump only keeps getting away with what Donald Trump keeps getting away with because there is a voter base willing to cheer instead of question. Nvea, Jaidyn Alexis, Chrisean Rock, the sailor's mother, the postpartum sister, the 90 million ghost voters, they only stay unheard because we, collectively, keep clicking away from their stories to consume the next spectacle Blueface or Donald Trump has scheduled for the algorithm. So the assignment tonight, if you accept it, is simple. Stop clicking away. Stop scrolling past. Stop laughing when the woman is screaming. Because Blueface is a preview and Donald Trump is a trailer, and if we do not start acting like the full feature is already playing, we are going to wake up in a country and a culture we do not recognize. And by then, family, it will be too late for the Lego videos to save us. Too late for the letters the sailor mothers are writing. Too late for the DMs Jaidyn Alexis has been sending. Too late for the warnings Chrisean Rock kept screaming. Too late for the receipts I keep bringing to this desk night after night after night. So we act now. We move now. We speak now. We call our people now. We text our neighbors now. We drag our cousins to the polls now. Because, now, is the only tense a democracy actually understands, and, later, is the tense that buried every empire that came before this one. And listen, one more piece of housekeeping before I sign the video off, because the family has been asking. Yes, I am going to be adding a second upload day to this channel. We are moving from 1 long-form video a week to 2 long-form videos a week, and if the schedule holds, eventually 3. That is the plan. That is the pace. That is what the growth requires. And I could not do it, could not even dream of it, without the family showing up the way y'all have been showing up. So thank you. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Family. I think that is where I am going to leave it tonight. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Stay hydrated. Stay dangerous. Stay curious. Stay reading. Stay voting. Stay checking on Nvea. Stay checking on the postpartum sister down the street. Stay checking on the sailor's mother in your neighborhood who has not slept in 8 months. Stay checking on your own wallet before Donald Trump checks it for you. And I will see you tomorrow with the Carmelo Anthony breakdown, and next week with the first Founding Fathers episode. Peace, family. Peace. 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 And one more time for the algorithm, subscribe, share, comment, hit the bell, and I will see you tomorrow. On God, I will see you tomorrow. Do not miss it. And Blueface, if you happen to be watching this, and I know somebody is going to send it to you, take the L, sweetheart. Just this one time. Take the L and check on the mother of your child. That is all I got. Good night.